Good afternoon. How's everyone doing after I'm assuming a heavy lunch? How's everybody doing? It's nice and warm. I'm coming from Dublin, straight over the red-eye flight, and I'm a little jet lagged as well. So please, we are in the same space. So don't think that you're after lunch. I'm a little jet lagged. So we'll try and kind of make this thing happen together. But how's everybody feeling? Can we hear some noise? Yay! Yay! Come on. Let's get some energy in the room. What I'm going to talk about today is really, really interesting. At least I hope I make it interesting for you. And for that to succeed, we need to have some energy in the room, right? So, people who know me, they know a little bit of Bollywood dance. I do. So I'll keep that for the later. But just a quick introduction about me. I'm a part of the Google SMB organization. So basically, we look after small businesses who advertise in Google or using Google ad products. And I've been with Google now for 8 years. I started my career at Google in India, and I now am based in London and look after the channel sales operations based out of London. So what does channel sales do, and what does that mean, and what does it look like, etc. So from that perspective, if you look at what we do, is basically we work with companies like you, people who own smart startups, who work with advertising solutions, who work with smart advertising solutions to help SMBs succeed on digital advertising. Basically, that's what we do at scale. The organization I represent manage about 250,000 advertisers across Europe, Middle East, and Africa, over about 300-400 partnerships, scalable partnerships. We have team members based across 17 countries, and we have our partners based across about 35 countries in this region. What I really wanted to do today was, talk to you a little bit about what is happening in the ads ecosystem, how we at Google see it. I'm going to talk to you about, there's a lot of chatter about machine learning, AI, and probably you guys are more educated than me on that space. But what I'm not going to talk about is, what machine learning does, what AI is, etc. What I'm going to talk about is that a threat or is that an opportunity for all of you sitting here? And we want to make sure that when I leave this stage, you are confident that you see this as an opportunity. And you see this as an opportunity to build businesses, to help businesses grow in their markets and in their ecosystems. So that's what we're going to do. Are we all in it? You're trying to, yeah? Can we hear some noise? Okay. Let's keep the energy going, because after lunch, it has a very bad habit of dipping. And remember, I'm also jet lagged, so I also don't want to kind of dip and bore you guys as well. So we'll have to keep this partnership going and make it happen for us. So we know what's happening in the space of AI and ML. I don't have to talk about it. Sundar Pichai, our CEO, has gone on record to say that the pace of acceleration on machine learning and AI is increasing every year. In fact, he's gone on record to say also that he's been surprised at the pace of change that is happening. And we see it across products, across industries, across so on and so forth. Talking of the ad ecosystem, what we are seeing is that more and more organizations, whether large organizations or small organizations, are all looking at automating their marketing processes at some point or other. All of them. Now, when you talk of this kind of a shift in the whole advertising and marketing and digital ecosystem, especially from an ads and a marketing perspective, we know that there is a chance that the companies who have been doing this for ages, there's a chance that they may not be able to take the curve to go through that. There's also a chance that there's a bunch of people in this room who will take that opportunity and traverse that ecosystem, right? It's a multi-$100 billion business, digital advertising now, and that itself is getting disrupted through machine learning and AI. So what does that mean from an ads perspective, and especially if you look at it from a Google perspective? Google has all been about intent, right? Over the years, as Google built its business model, we as advertisers and we as marketing companies and we as advertising agencies and we as marketing automation companies were always chasing that intent. There were keywords, and then you put an ad against that, so you're chasing an intent which a customer has. Now, the way machine learning and AI is kind of moving ahead, we are able to be in a position where we are almost able to predict the intent. We are trying to go ahead of where the consumer probably might end up, right? And this we are seeing across devices, across platforms, across attribution models, across creatives, across each and every aspect of digital advertising. From chasing intent, our goal, or the way this is moving, is to now predicting intent. And that, to me, is the most fundamental shift that we are seeing in digital advertising today. And that will continue to accelerate. So we will not be, like 3 years down the hence, 3 years hence, we'll not be probably chasing intent anymore. We'll only be going after predictive intent, right? So there are 3 trends which are fueling this this forward, right? The first is move to automation, and I'll explain each one of to you in a bit. The second is move to smart, and the third is transaction-based ad formats. Let's take the first one. What does move to automation mean? What is now happening is, if you look at the old way of digital advertising, is people used to have large teams. They used to create account management campaigns, and it was very human dependent. As a customer, I would give my budget to an agency would develop a campaign, and somebody would run that campaign. Now, that is all changing. With a lot of machine learning, AI, etc., you have more and more automation coming in place. Now, what does that mean for all of you? Now, if you are creating an ads business today on your platforms, or if you are creating a business which will attract advertisers, or if you have relationship with small businesses and you want them to succeed on digital platforms and you want them to succeed in the digital world, you'll probably need to help them to advertise, right? The more you automate your processes, whether it is algorithmic-based ad creation, or reducing costs, increasing efficiency, or making sure you're delivering better results and better ROI without human intervention. That is where you will not only be keeping a customer for long, you will be increasing their return on investment for the budget that they spend, and you will also make sure that your own costs come down, your profitability, and you make more money. That's the whole goal of it. So increasing shift to automation is the number one. So if you are looking at building a business which has large number of businesses with you, or if you're looking at building and helping them advertise in the digital age, make sure each and every process is automated. That's number one. Number two is move to smart. Now this is a really important thing. What we have started seeing now is more and more shift to auto bidding, auto creatives, smart display, smart campaigns, smart shopping. So Google is launching all these products one by one, all based on machine learning algorithms and all based on artificial intelligence. And these are the ones which are now driving more scale, better efficiency, better ROI, and better predictability of the outcomes of advertising budgets. This is a fundamental shift in the last, Google is now 21 years old, in the last 20 years of Google's history. And this is where we are all moving. Now, if you are building a product, or if you are building a business which is going to compete with smart shopping, then probably you're not doing the right thing. Because you need to build a business which is on top of that. And use your own data signals, use your own understanding of the customer, which Google does not have, to give a unique value proposition to the customer, which they will never get from any other company and platform. And I'm going to talk about a little bit based or more on that. And the last is transaction-based ad formats. Again, what does that mean? If you look at the way Google started, it was, okay, there is an intent, somebody's asked for something, we show an ad, we pay a few dollars to get a click on that ad, and then what happens, nobody knows. It may get converted, it may not, and then you keep calculating and so on and so forth. Especially for small businesses, and I've been doing this for a long time. I've been in the industry for 22 years. I've worked with small businesses for a long time. What they really need is some kind of confirmation that for the money that they have spent, the dollar that they have spent, they are getting the bang for the buck. You spend X amount of dollars, you get Y. And nobody really knew how to do that except now. For the last few years, we've started seeing transaction-based ads. What are these? Smart shopping, right? So you exactly know that you have an ad, you buy a product, and you know this is attributed to this ad. Google hotel ads. You search for a hotel, you book a hotel, boom. Google's services ad. You call a plumber, you book an appointment, the plumber knows exactly that I've paid $5 for an appointment, to get an appointment, or whatever that is. So there are a bunch of these ad formats, and that's not just Google, it's every other platform which is doing it, and that's again the fundamental shift. So there are three important things to keep in mind when you build an ad business. One is move to automation, second is move to smart, and third is transaction-based ad formats. And that is where the world is going, and that is what the future, next 3 to 5 years, will look like. Right? So what does this mean for you guys? And the first one is obviously to look at, how do we leverage the outsource artificial intelligence or smart campaigns, etc., which I've already talked about in building account management, algorithmic-based account management for your advertisers. So the more data signals you have, the better outcome of your ads, right? Next is move upstream. So I spoke a little bit about it 2-3 minutes back, was that you do not need to compete with the products these large platforms are building, whether it's Google, Facebook, or whoever else. You need to build upstream on top of that. And what does upstream really mean? So if you're in a business of e-commerce, for example, right, and you already have smart shopping built in to your overall offering, can you build some form of voice algorithm on top of that, right? I just met a very nice company with very, very smart founders called VoiceAble. They're exactly doing that. They say, we don't want to bring smart shopping, etc. We want to build on top of that. So that not only gives you the Google business, that also gives you the value add on top of that. And that is really, really important as you kind of go upstream and kind of build that value add. The second is, how do you differentiate yourself competitively? Now, anybody knows how many advertising agencies in the world who sell Google ads? Any guesses? Any guesses? How many? Random number? 500,000, million, 5 million, 10,000? Sorry, what's that one? 1 million. Well, it's actually 54,000 companies which sell Google advertising solutions, which we know of. There could be many more, but they are in our database. Now, when 54,000 companies are selling Google advertising solutions, how do you differentiate yourself? There are many ways to differentiate it. One is to go upstream. Second is to build a cross-channel kind of a platform. So not only do Google, but do other platforms as well. And it may seem very funny that a Google person is standing on the stage and said, okay, build Google, build this, build together. But that's for you to make more business. It's for us to make our product as good or even better than our competitors so that we deliver the value which your customers want us to deliver. But for your customer and for you, you need to think about building a more cross-channel kind of platform, right? So we spoke about 54,000 agencies, etc. And now is a time where we are going to see a fundamental shift and a disruption in this industry. And I'll give you 3 characteristics which are happening of why this we are seeing will become necessity. And it could be a very, very important business opportunity for all of you. So we spoke about large number of providers with very little differentiation, 54,000 of them, with almost doing the same thing, everybody providing Google ads, just the difference is how much they charge from each customer, etc. Second is inefficient processes, pretty old processes, very inefficient and taking a very, very long time and huge cost for these digital advertising companies. And then finally, multiple manual steps in the sales process, which again leads to inefficiency and increases your cost and your expense. From a customer's perspective, Customers need better ROI. They need to shift quickly. That has been the demand, and they've been asking it for a long time, that we need to shift beyond this ecosystem. What are the new opportunities and solutions that we can get? The second is increasing need for customization. Because for so many years, for almost 20 years of Google's history, Google's, these advertising agencies and people who have built businesses on the digital ads business do not have a customized offering. It's like one size fits all. We are moving away from that. Customers are becoming more demanding. They're asking for customized offerings. And finally, the thing is that we need to move fast. Customers are moving fast, the industry is changing fast, and we need to move fast to meet the customer needs. So this is the signals we are seeing that this industry is going to get disrupted. This is the standard signals you will see in every industry that has been disrupted. Whether you take the transportation industry, which Uber, etc. disrupted, whether you take the hospitality industry, which Airbnb disrupted, which you take the any other industry that you can think of got disrupted. These are the exact same signals which we are seeing in the advertising industry as well. The question now is, we are seeing this fundamental shift. The question now is, in this room, are we going to be the disruptors, or are we going to be disrupted? The shift is happening, we know that. All data signals are there, we know that. The question now is, will we be the disruptors, or will we be disrupted? Now here are some signals of when you run a company, you know which direction you are going. So the signals for the companies who are disruptors, they reward educated risk-taking. When you build a company culture, you reward educated risk-taking, whether it's a new project, whether we take some learnings from that, whether we do a pilot, but we reward any employee who does that. Second is, we disrupt ourselves first. One of Google's great successes is Google has more failed products than successful products. More failed products. There's something known as Google Graveyard. Go and have a look at it. It's more failed products than successful products. So are we disrupting ourselves, or are we not? And then we need to focus on only 1 or 2 points of disruption. You cannot disrupt the whole company. You cannot disrupt the whole industry. Which part of the industry or the business or the process you want to disrupt and change, right? One important thing is to look for insights into non-traditional places where you don't get the signals usually. So maybe don't go and search in Google, but look at somewhere else. Or what are the signals I can get, and what are the places I can hunt for to get this right. Have a launch quickly and iterate. So think of an idea, figure out a business plan, launch it quickly, and figure out a plan. Okay, 3 months down the line, 6 months down the line, how do we keep improving upon it? That is a good mindset of a disruptor. And make sure that each and every employee of the company is communicated about the changes we are trying to make, and the context is given, so that you don't have problems within your own organization and you kind of continue to disrupt at pace and at change. Now let's look at the signals of the companies who get disrupted. Number one, they play defense rather than offense. So they've gathered something, they want to keep it and not let go of it. These are the classic signals of the companies and industries which get disrupted. Number two is protect the core business. This is my core business, this is what I've built, this is my cash cow, I need to protect it. They don't think beyond that, and they put all their energies, resources, money on that, and somebody else comes and takes that business away. And I've seen it happen again and again and again in every industry, right? Third, how much of our time we spend on exactly thinking about what next? All of us in our businesses, in our companies, we spend majority of our time in day-to-day operations, right? I do that myself. And then I realize, I take a step back that, man, I need to take 2 hours out just on thinking of what to do next for the business. Where is the threat coming from? Where is the opportunities? And how do we disrupt? Continuously evolve and change and disrupt, right? The third is we have a long hierarchical decision-making process. Classic sign of failure. Do you know that Kodak discovered the first digital camera, or invented the first digital camera? It took 2 years for the junior engineer who invented it to take it right up to the board. 2 years. When it went to the board rejected it. The thing is a useless invention, nobody will use it, get rid of it. And now Kodak doesn't exist, and see where digital photography is. So if you have that kind of a mindset, you are 100% as a company, as a business, as an industry, going to get disrupted. Same products, same processes, same people, doing the same work over and over again for a long period of time. No fresh thinking, no fresh thought process, no creative innovation, nothing. You know you have a signal over there as a company that somebody is going to come and eat your lunch. Keep that in mind. So always think of ways of innovating either a process or changing people or giving them new projects, because that drives creativity, new thinking, and new ways of problem solving, right? And then if you're in a siloed area and where you think that nobody will come, well, that's the first one people are going to attack. So always think of expanding your horizon, always think of expanding either towards doing different things, adjacent things, or looking at backward integration as well. So the question now is, in this room, are we the disruptors or are we getting disrupted? The answer lies with you. Where do you want yourself, your company to be? The disruptor or the disrupted? So from a channel sales perspective, we help and support you to do that. We have a very big program to kind of support companies, startups, companies who've been interested in digital advertising, to help support and build this ecosystem. What are the things we do? Right from strategic consulting to making sure that we give you API technical support, to product solutioning, etc., to sales, marketing, MDF funds to help you support, scale up, go to market, and so on and so forth. Give you exclusive product access, beta product access, etc., which Google's not yet launched in the market. You get that. And then we have conferences, opportunities where you can network and you can have new business opportunities as well. Here's a bunch of our partners. You can go and check on them online. But they are the ones who kind of started from scratch, very much like in this room. AdesPro started for something like this 3 years back, now built a very large business. ROI Hunter started like that. Optio started like that, just with a simple idea and said, okay, let's build something new and disrupt the business of digital advertising. And we help them on that. In Europe only, the opportunity is huge. Huge opportunity. I run this business, I know it. I've been living this, breathing this for the last 4-5 years now. 34 million SMBs, more than 70% of them are not yet online. They don't have a web presence. Forget digital advertising, they don't have a web presence. Haven't yet invested in digital and don't even have a website as well. No shopping site, no website, no domain name, nothing. Right? So this is where your opportunity starts. And there could be, you've already built some value-added services and you want to build a digital service. You have a digital advertising service and then you want to build an value-added service. All kinds of permutations and combinations are possible on this. But the point I'm trying to make is the opportunity is really, really, really huge.
Okay, this is very, very interesting, but we have to go on with our program. So, Mr. Kartik, can you sum up?
Yes, so as I said, are you going to be disrupted or be the disruptor? And then finally, I want to leave you with a video of one of our partners who has kind of worked with us in the past, and you can understand that how we work together. So that's the end of my presentation, guys. Thanks so much, and I'm around, so look forward to catching up with you at a later stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you play the video?